Hey, class of 2025. This is your counseling team here with you to let you know how to select classes for junior year. There's three of us with you today. I'm kind of kicking things off again. My name is Mr. Mankey. I'm the college career counselor. I'll let my colleagues here introduce themselves. Ms. Flores?
Hey guys, it's Mrs. Flores.
And hi, everybody, Mr. Myers.
All right, so we got some great information for you today. Sit tight, soak it in. We'll do everything we can to give you clarity, as well as some tips and feedback and timelines and all that good stuff as we go. So I got the first couple of slides here. I'm going to peel us off screen so that you can focus on the presentation as opposed to our shining faces here. There we go. So our first slide. Here's just the agenda. Here's the items we're going to hit today. We'll make sure we do a quick recap on graduation requirements, the typical junior courses you'll run into, what's new for next year, things that are new in our course guide, which is also available for you, the process itself, how to enter them, and then friendly resources to use along the way. Here's that slide that you guys see every time you hear my voice or you see me doing a presentation. One little tip I give you as you're selecting your courses, again, I don't expect you to know exactly what your next step is, folks. That's not the point. But I also don't want you to ignore what might be out there for you in a couple of years as you're doing your selections. Again, there's all sorts of reasons why people pick courses, but one of the ones to keep in mind is how it might connect with some possibilities that you might be thinking about will be coming up next in a couple of years here. I'm going to pass things over on the next slide here to Mr. Myers.
Okay, hi everybody. So keep in mind, you've seen this slide before, but these are the graduation requirements. And though I know you guys can all just read it, I do want to go through and talk about each point just to make it stick in your heads. So 4 years of English, which is basically you need 8 semesters of English. 3 years of math, and again, this is all required to earn your diploma through District 156. 3 years of science, 2.5 years of social science. You have health, which most of you have had already, and some will have this semester. 3.5 years of PE. There is driver's ed, and that's passing the classroom portion. That's either here with us or it's at a private driving school. You do have to have a semester of consumer ed and then 7 electives for a total of 24 credits. And over on the right, we just put reminders. If you do not pass a core requirement, your English, your math, your science, your social science, you will be expected to make that up in summer school. To stay on track for graduation, minimum 12 credits acquired from your freshman and sophomore year combined. And we just want you to make sure that you finish this year strong. And if you need any help, see Ms. Flores or myself. Okay, Mr. Mankey, next slide, please. So juniors, what are your requirements? What are you going to have to take next year? You will take 1 full year, 2 semesters of English, and it has to be from one of these 3 bullet points. You should have talked about this with your English teacher already, and you've been recommended for one of these. So AP Language and Comp, English 3, or American Studies. Keep in mind with American Studies, it is your honors English, and it's like taking honors U.S. history. Those 2 are combined. So you can't take American Studies and then take AP U.S. history. It's either American Studies, for both the English and the history, that's a combined class. Math, there's many options. You've already been placed in a math based upon what your teacher recommendation and conversation with you. Science is the same, and you can see the history down below there with the options. You will take 1 full year of PE, so each semester you'll have that. Driver's ed, it's depending upon your birthday. It is available over the summer if you are eligible. And if you're taking it privately, you need to bring a copy of your letter completion to Ms. Flores or myself, depending on who your counselor is. And keep in mind down at the bottom that FYI, your English, your math, your science, your U.S. history, and your PE placements are already in Skyward. So you will not have to enter them when you do course registration. They're already there. If you don't agree with what's in there, then you'll talk to Ms. Flores or myself when we do course registration. Okay, next slide, please. Level change. So what happens if if you've been recommended for a certain level of English, math, history, etc., but you do want to change it? Well, there's a process. So like highlighted in yellow there, for example, if you want to change from English 3 and you think you want to challenge yourself, you want to be in honors American studies, then what you have to do is fill out a level change request form. So you're going to go to this slide presentation, which is going to be shared with you in Schoology. Find this slide and click on the link there, level change request form. When you click on that, then you can print it out at home, or you can go to the library here at school and print it out in the library. You do have to take it home. Your parent must sign it, and then you can bring the level request change to myself or to Ms. Flores, and then we'll hand it to the division chairs. The division chairs are the ones that determine if your request is going to be approved or if your request is going to be denied. And the division chair will contact you and your parent with that decision. Okay, so go to this slide to get the level change request form if you want to change levels. Okay, Mr. Mickey. Elective choices, just some bullet points here. Be sure to choose electives that fall under your career cluster or your career interest. If you need help with that, that's what Ms. Flores, myself, and Mr. Mankey are here for. You can see any three of us, and we can help you with that discussion. Electives are a great way to explore and see what you're interested in. And colleges also like to see that you've continued with a passion or interest rather than just taking a bunch of random classes, which is, again, why we have the career cluster pathway link there. So, for example, if you're thinking engineering, you can click on that link down there. You can see what courses match up with that we offer that match up with that major or with that career. Okay, next slide. We do have new courses for next year. So these are ones that have never been offered before. Those that are thinking that you want to go into education as a career, we have teaching as a professional. These are each semester courses. And again, this is designed for students who are thinking that they want to go into the education field in terms of their career. If you take teaching as a profession first semester, then you could have either senior year, you could take the dual credit second semester course. You can take that junior or senior year. It's dual credits. You will be earning college credit when taking this. And you could read the description down there, but it's great because you get to go out and do observance hours out at the elementary, junior, and high school levels. There is scene study, so please make sure that you're looking at the prereq for that. You must have taken Intro to Theater, and you can see by the description there what scene study is about. There's also a new class called Honors Dual Credit Speech, which is a great way to get your public speaking requirement out of the way. So students will develop interpersonal communication skills and focus on speaking, listening tasks to learn how to present effective speeches. And again, it's dual credit, just like the TAP 2 class above, so you'll have the possibility to earn college credit while taking that course. Okay. Next, Mr. Miggy. Dual credit enrollment courses. Mr. Mankey, were you going to take this one?
Yep. This one's me. Thank you, Mr. Myers. I got this one and the next one. So just a couple of quick notes here. The left side of the screen has the dual credit courses that students can take at McHenry High School. You could see some of them are available to juniors. There are some there that aren't available till senior year. I'm also just realizing that speech class, I neglected to get that one on there. Coincidentally, about that speech class, I will just very briefly say that just about any college degree, whether it's a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, you're going to run into speech at some point. The right side of the screen here, though, is really kind of why we're including this slide. We have several dual credit classes that are actually taught at MCC that McHenry High School students can access. We call them dual enrollment classes, and those are specifically in basic nursing, fire science /EMT, and criminal justice. Those are all taught at MCC. Because they're taught at MCC and not by our teaching staff, you do have to pay MCC's tuition. You also have to provide your own transportation. They're scheduled during our first and second period. So basically you start your day at MCC and then you make your way here by third period on. For those that are interested in careers in nursing, fire science, EMT, and criminal justice, I strongly encourage you. I'm going to have an optional but recommended presentation on Wednesday, January 18th during AIM in the College and Career Center to give you more info about these programs that are at MCC, these dual enrollment courses. So again, if you're interested in nursing, fire science, EMT, or criminal justice, I encourage you and look forward to seeing you Wednesday, January 18th during AIM in the College and Career Center. One more slide for me, and I'm going to pass things over here to Ms. Flores. Very quick student athlete note. If you are in any way, shape, or form considering participating in Division I or II student athletics in college, first of all, please tell your counselor. It's super important that they know, because colleges that have NCAA D1 or D2 programs require you to take very specific courses in high school. So it's really important that we work with you to make sure that you take classes that are approved by the NCAA. For instance, on the screen here, those bullet pointed classes are not NCAA approved. That's not us saying that you can't or shouldn't take them. However, if you are considering being a student athlete in college, those may not count towards the NCAA. There is a hyperlink there to the curriculum guide. The full list of courses that are not approved are on page 17 in there. All right, turning things over next up to Miss Flores.
Hey, yeah, so it is that time already to start talking about summer school. On January 20th, that's when the summer school website and registration is open. There are a couple reasons why you'll take summer school. One, maybe you're trying to get ahead. There's classes like consumer ed, government, and Spanish that you could take. Or you might have failed a required class and you need to recover that credit. That's another reason why you would take summer school. And you might be doing driver's ed in the summer too. So with driver's ed, make note that the deadline for driver's ed is February 26th. So please make sure this is something you are on the lookout for and ready to sign up in case you fall into any of those three categories. Mr. Menke, we can move on to the next slide. So here are just some tips and places to go to with any questions you have throughout this process. One, we want you guys picking classes based on what you're interested in, whether that's a career focus or just any interest or passion you have, or maybe there's classes that are helping you prepare for what's next for you after high school, or maybe something required for you to take, as well as what's required in high school for you to get your high school diploma. We don't want you guys taking classes just based on which teacher you think is going to be teaching a class, what your friends are taking, or just, like we want you guys choosing classes with intention. As far as looking up all these, options you have for classes, Schoology has a lot of resources, the list of classes, looking through career clusters, just different ways for you to help choose your classes for junior year. The website will also have a student services link for you to get information, but work with your teachers as well, your school, like me, Mr. Menke, Mr. Myers, we're here to help you guys. So you guys have a lot of online and in-person help that you can get to choose your classes. Next slide. Perfect. So here's a very important date to keep in mind. You cannot request any changes to your classes after February 23rd. Okay, so this is the last day to make changes to any classes you're requesting. This includes AP classes that you are placed into. So February 23rd is a very important deadline. Make sure you're keeping up with which classes you're placed in and which electives you're choosing before that date. So now, January 12th, you can start entering in your elective requests. Very important. The three of us highly recommend that you do this earlier than later. Some classes get full fast and are really, like a lot of students want to sign up for them. Those classes work on a first come, first serve basis. So make sure you are entering in your electives earlier than later. You're going to have a window of time between January 12th to January 20th. January 20th is the last day to have all of your classes entered into Skyward. Okay, so this got a little over a week to make that happen, and we are happy to help you throughout that process. We can move on to the next slide. Okay, so Skyward, here is just kind of a recap in case you need help accessing Skyward. One really important note to make, you need to be logged into the student account, okay? In order to make changes and choose your classes and your electives, you need to be logged into a student account. Some of you might find that you have been accessing Skyward through the parent account. So this link and just the directions on this slide will guide you to making sure you have access to Skyward through your student account. Whether you have to make a password from scratch, make sure you're using your student ID. And there's a how-to video as well in case you need help with that. We can move on to the next slide. Okay, so here's kind of a recap of what your schedule will look like. It's periods 1 through 8. The subjects that are listed there are those subjects that are required for graduation, like Mr. Myers mentioned earlier. It saves the lunch slot for you. So fourth, fifth, or sixth will be the lunch period. And then it shows you the slots you have to fill with elective choices or study hall, if you like to have a study hall each semester. Those slots are either going to be filled with electives that are the entire year, they're full year electives, or they'll be filled with plenty of different semester long electives. So it will look different each semester. In Skyward, you guys are going to be choosing those 14 classes to fill up your schedule. Plus, we want you choosing alternate courses, okay? We are going to have you all choose 3 alternate courses, which basically are your backups in case the classes you wanted first priority don't work in your schedule, or if there's any reason why we can't get that in your schedule, make sure you're choosing at least 3 backup classes. If you have more than 3, by all means, go and add as many as you want. Also, here's a good point to note too. Some of you might be interested in 0 hour. So if any of you are considering 0 hour for one semester or both semesters, make sure in that case you have an extra slot for another classes. So maybe instead of 14 classes, you'll have 16 if you're doing 0 hour. We will also be giving you guys a physical handout so you guys can help make sure that you don't overbook yourself and that you're choosing the right number of classes. We can move to the next slide, Mr. Menke. So this is visually what it's going to look like for you in Skyward when you go to do it. So we have it boxed out for you right there where it says course requests upper campus. That's exactly where you're going to click once you log into Skyward through the student account. And then on the right, that's what the screen is going to look like for you. You're going to see where it says my requests. You're already going to see like the English, math, science, social studies. These are your course placements, okay? So this is based on which classes you're currently taking, grades you've already earned in these classes. Your teachers are making placements for you based on what they recommend you take, okay? So this is where it's super important that you are seeing exactly what you were placed into. If something doesn't look like what you were expecting to take or want to take, that's where that level change process is extremely important. And when you need to start having conversations with your teachers and counselor about what you want junior year to look like. These are classes that you cannot change, okay? So basically what you're doing is you're adding in electives in Skyward in addition to what teachers already placed you into. If you can see on the screen, the bottom one that's there is a PE class, okay? So you guys are gonna notice that you already did PE placements before winter break. So the PE stuff as well, you cannot change. If you already changed your mind with a PE class that you wanna take for junior year, come talk to me or Mr. Myers and we can help you with the PE stuff. We can go to the next slide, Mr. Menke. Okay, so then here's what steps 3 and 4 are going to look like for you in Skyward. Basically, you're going to look up the electives and you're going to see that green button to the left of them. You're going to press the green plus button for any class that you're adding into your requests, okay? You guys are going to see, like, for example, the ones that show up there, accounting 1. If you see a class repeated 2 times, that means it's a full year class and you want to add both classes, okay? So that you're adding in the full year for it. If you look at the screenshot to the right, and if you look down, you'll see government and civics. That one's only listed there once. With any class that's only a semester long, you're only going to see it listed once. So with the semester classes, you only need to add it in one time. So basically, after you press the plus button, it's going to put the list of your classes together. And then when you've added all your classes, you're able to go where it's boxed out and it says submit course requests. That's how you go ahead and update everything in Skyward. And also, of course, don't forget to add in the alternates as well. Okay, so when you are going through this, some of you might find it's super easy. You don't have any questions. Some of you might find, okay, yeah, you want to check in with any questions, whether it's a Skyward related question, level change question, choosing electives, whatever it is, we're happy to help you with that process. I already mentioned earlier, talking to us, your counselors, your teachers with any part of that process. Talk with your parents about it too, looking into your junior year schedule. You also have a lot of resources that we already give you access to through Schoology and looking on the curriculum guide, so you can see all of the courses. But yeah, keep us posted. We're happy to help you plan your junior year in the near future. Bye, guys.